Hi and welcome to the Homeopathy Health Show. I'm Atiq Ahmed Bhatti, a fourth generation homeopath with over 25 years of professional experience and practice in this field of healing. The Homeopathy Health Show is the online voice of homeopathy around the world, promoting and raising awareness of this truly unique system of healing, which is suitable for all ages, young and old. Every week I invite guests from the world of homeopathy to come and share their experiences, their work, offer insights, and essentially talk all things homeopathy. Why not visit www.liketreatslike.co.uk and click on the radio and podcast button to listen to the latest episodes. So let's begin today's show here on UK Health Radio, the world's #1 talk health radio. Hi and welcome to another episode of the Homeopathy Health Show here on the UK Health Radio Network. And of course, I am your host. And I do hope you've had a pleasant week. And it's been wonderful, hasn't it? It was a wonderful end to the year last year. And let's hope and pray that 2025 brings lots of blessings for everybody, especially for homeopathy and for the message of homeopathy. So hey, I always say 2024 was the year of homeopathy. I usually say is, but obviously we're in 25 now. So, but I think that 2025 is also the year of homeopathy. And in fact, hey, let's go one extra. Every year is the year of homeopathy. And that's how passionate I am about homeopathy. I absolutely love it. And everyone I speak to on my show shares the same feelings. We love homeopathy for everything that it stands for. And it's not just healthcare. It's almost a way of life. And it teaches us a great many lessons about life itself. But hey, enough about that. I'm going to introduce my guest for this week's episode. And that is none other than Nathalie Van Der Stelt, who joins me all the way from Holland. Now, Nathalie has a wonderful story indeed, which we're going to talk about how her skin condition was treated using homeopathy at the age of 22. And that led to her falling in love with homeopathy and studying at the Academy for Natural Medicine in Hilversum in Holland. Now, interestingly enough, she spends a large majority of her time in practice helping children with childhood complaints. In fact, 60%, I must say. And she also writes articles for magazines and has written a book called Homeopathy in Children. But there's much, much more, and I don't want to spoil it. So let me introduce Nathalie Van Der Stelt. Thank you so very much for coming on the Homeopathy Health Show.
Thank you very much for inviting me and to that I can join you on the show. I think that's very nice. I couldn't agree more that I'm a fan of homeopathy as well. As you told the people that it's a thing of life. That's the same for me too.
It's absolutely, isn't it? It's so interesting that
Yes.
I find that, one of the greatest things I've actually found about homeopathy is the part where, this whole element of being compassionate and empathy. You can't just, it's not a switch. You can't switch empathy on. You can't switch compassion on. But you can become compassionate and you can empathize with people. And that's one of the beauties of homeopathy, because of that connection between doctor-patient or practitioner and patient, depending on which part of the world we are, it evolves. And that's where we as practitioners and doctors of homeopathy can become, for want of a better word, even better human beings to serve humanity through homeopathy, isn't it?
Yes. And you hear different kind of stories in the practice, like different kind of stories between 10 years ago that were different kind of stories than I hear now. And so you evolve with the patients. I had like babies when I started. The practice was 16 years ago. My daughter was then like 1 year, and I practiced with children with 1 year as well at that time, and they are now 16 as well. So I'm still the homeopath. So it's so nice to see the children evolve, become like pubers and all the ages. So I can keep track of them in their lives.
That's something you've said is very, very important, because there's patients that have been coming to me since day one, so you're looking upwards of 25 years, and you saw when they were in their mother's lap, and now they're all grown up, and some of them are married,
Yes.
and some of them even further. So, if they met you at teenage years, now they've got a family, and it's so
Yeah.
nice, that journey together, isn't it? And the fact that, there's this element of trust, and they will phone you, and they carry on with homeopathy through their children, and
Yes.
it's
Yes.
wonderful.
Yeah, and sometimes they forget that it is they are going to live their lives. They have problems or physical problems, and then maybe like they are complaining like 2 months, and then suddenly in their head there's, oh, homeopathy, I just forgot it. So they bring me up, or like a grandmother is telling them, oh, did you try homeopathy yet? Or maybe you can call Natalie again, and they forget it, and then they come back, and then the problem is solved if the remedy is chosen well, of course. But that's what I see always, that they just forget. And oh yeah, there's homeopathy. And for us, it's everyday life. It's so normal for us that we also grab for the homeopathy remedies.
It's I'll carry on with that exact point. One of the other things that homeopathy does and continues to do, and I've seen this, nearly with obviously every single patient, but certainly within friends and family as well, is it removes the fear of getting sick. So what I
Mhm.
mean by that is, generally, if someone is not aware of natural therapies or homeopathy, let's say specifically in this example, then the first point of call when a child, let's take children as an example, when a child develops a fever, is to panic, look at
Mhm.
paracetamols or any painkillers, go to the doctor, or sometimes people turn up to A&E in hospital, and there's
Mhm.
this fear, oh my God, this fever is happening. Homeopathy is totally different because it tells you why something is happening, okay? And
Yes.
then, you can explain to the patient, or, friends and family, certainly, there is a reason, there's a biological response of the body. It's going into something called a survival mode, and this is what it's going to do. And these are the phases. And this is
Yeah.
what the remedy is, and this is the signature of the remedy. And when you match it to you, you're going to be fine. Now, next time that happens, that
Mhm.
fear for them has gone, because it's like, oh, I remember I think I need ferrum force or belladonna. Let me ask the homeopath, whatever. I'm just giving you an
Yes.
example, right? Of
Yes.
remedies,
Yeah.
or gelsemium, whatever. There's so many. Um, and it removes the time going to the medical facilities, the panic, the fear, and the tiredness, and that goes along with that, isn't it? It's
Yes.
so
Yes.
effective and efficient.
Yes, yes, I love to give lessons to like parents of like in the 30s, 30, 45 years old with young children. And in their Corona time, they were woken up and they want to make sure that they can provide for themselves for the healthcare. And then I give like workshops for those parents, those mothers. And I have like more than 150 in the Facebook group that they have come with the lessons, and they tell each other in the Facebook group, oh, you can try this one, you can try that one. They have their own specific box with 37 remedies, and they because when I talk about it and I give examples from my practice, that's going to start living. The remedy is going to live for them. So if they see somebody sick or the children, then they know what to give them. And this gives a lot of pleasure, and it gives a lot of what you say, like confidence for the mothers, that they can treat their own children or their own family with the homeopathic remedies.
Yeah.
And
And
that's also what
and
makes me happy.
yeah, it makes me very happy as well, because it's just such a nice position to be in, that for everyday complaints, and we all have them, you don't
Yes.
have to panic, you don't have to stress, you don't have to fear, you don't have to waste time. You
No.
can be very efficient and very professional and heal
Yes.
at home, literally. And, we've seen that, right? We see that day in, day
Yeah.
out in our practice.
Yeah. Yes. That's what I love to do in like a part of my practice, to educate parents and to talk about homeopathy. And I think sometimes it's like a shame that not every person in the world knows about homeopathy. I cannot understand why that's the case, because everybody has to know about it. It's my opinion, of course. And so, like a little drops, we put our drops in the world, and hopefully many more people get to know the remedies, get to know the homeopathy as a practice. It would be very nice to work on that for the future.
I mean, there's a lot of great things going on with homeopathy, and the message is spreading. So even this show, when I started, I never thought it would become the world's #1 radio show on homeopathy. I never
Ah,
dreamt that. But now you've got tens of thousands of people listening, you know. And then I look at introducing homeopathy, the film, which and that's a big deal as well, and it's bringing that message. But over
Yes.
and above those things, it's the homeopaths themselves. So you're a prime example.
Hmm.
Teaching, going online. You know, you've said something very wonderful in your biodata, which is you're collaborating with foreign homeopaths, you know, to get the message out. And this is how we can work together. I always say
Yes.
on my socials, as you know, let's work together. This is what
Yes.
it's about, to get that message out to more and more and more people. So the
Yes.
seminars that you do, the webinars, meeting in venues around Holland, and same things that I do here, and all the thousands of other homeopaths are doing.
Yes.
Collectively, it's huge, isn't it? That energy and that force, you know?
Yes, yes. Because I noticed that people, just normal people, are curious. They want to know about the sickness and what we can do about it. And if you can put like little drops and maybe, and sometimes I share on my Facebook or my Instagram, I share like success stories. Then I notice that people wake up. Oh no, maybe that's because maybe for my sister, or maybe for this daughter of my sister, and something like that. And then they waking up, and that's a nice message you can give. And I'd like to arrange also like lessons for homeopaths in the Netherlands, with international homeopaths as well. Like Anne Vervaark is going to give like a lecture for homeopaths that are in the Netherlands, that they can get their points to stay homeopaths. And I'm now busy with like Peter Tuminella from Australia, to arrange for next year, like to get points from about his point of view about the gems, and very much things that I'm finding interesting. I can put it together for the homeopaths as well in the Netherlands.
That's Peter Terminello's on the show in a few weeks, by the way.
Ah,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
Oh,
we're
very
talking
nice.
we're talking about gems. It's a two-part, and
Ah, yes.
it's fascinating because that's another thing. This people say, oh my God, there's so many different areas of your homeopathy, but that just shows you how advanced it is, how
Yes.
advanced homeopathy is. You can truly specialize in one area, or you can just be totally open and have different tools in a toolbox, right? Of different
Yes.
modalities of homeopathy. That's how
Yes.
fantastic it is, and it's a lifelong study process anyway.
Yeah, yeah, you can just study it lifelong. I noticed, yeah, there's every different things, and like the plants and the minerals and the animals. Yeah, animals are very big as well. And me myself as a homeopath, I'm like a little bit psychic as well, so I can read photos. People send me the photo, and I can get messages, I get feelings, I write them down in the email and transfer them to them before the consult. And in my what I get through by like the psychic, I can feel sometimes what kind of remedy is needed also, because I feel that the children or the people are like how do you say that, extroverted or introverted. I can feel it as well before in the photo, so I can feel the a little bit of remedies as well beforehand. So that I write them in my schedule, and of course I have the normal consult afterwards, and then I can mix and match those two together.
That's actually wonderful, and it's a really wonderful skill to have. And as homeopaths, I've met many who have this.
Mhm.
Some call it intuition,
Yes.
and I've certainly experienced that myself as well. And it's such a wonderful feeling. You
Yes.
just know. I don't know who I was having this conversation with recently on one of these show episodes, but I was
Hmm.
sharing that sometimes a patient walks in, and even though you may after the consult repertorize, but you know it's not that remedy. You know it's a remedy that was placed in your heart or your mind at that moment in time.
Yes.
And it works. It always works, you know?
Yes.
Which is
Yes.
interesting, isn't it?
Yes. Yes. It's like a puzzle you have to solve.
Mm.
I always say, and if the puzzle is solved, you have the right remedy, then you know in your heart that you're correct. And then I'm very curious about the next phase, the next consultation that they're coming back. What I can hear about it, and I know I was right about that remedy because I felt it in my heart. And sometimes the cases are sometimes more like complicated, and I'm thinking about this remedy, but it could be the second or third remedy as well. Then I know that would be a little bit different, and then you have to ask more questions in the next phase, in the next consult to get the remedy right. So it's always like you're like a Sherlock Holmes finding the correct remedy. But it's good that many more homeopaths use their intuition with it.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. I think it's a really important way to develop ourselves
Yes,
as well, because the
yes,
more in tune we become with patients, the more in tune we become with remedies, the more in tune we become with diseases. Look, at the end of the day, it's all frequencies, okay? Yeah,
yes,
the
yes,
manifestation process is part of the frequency
yes,
response, right? So,
yeah,
um, it's important, and the more we get in touch with our patients and the different scenarios of sickness, the more in tune we can become, isn't it?
yes, yes.
Mhm.
Because if I only go with the program, like finding the symptoms of a person, I only work in that part. Then I'm losing it because it's too much with the head. I have to fill in the symptoms. So I have to like Sankaran, as of course, Sankaran. We have like the big picture, and that's more what I want to do. Like Anna Vervaak, Sankaran, make the big picture, and then you can feel in which part they are in, for instance, and then find the correct remedy with it. And of course, the symptoms are always important to fill in the gap. But then I make the correct puzzle again. Yes.
Wonderful. We were talking about the toolkit and homeopathy, and I was speaking to Dr. Jan Scholten, a very good friend of mine, and just a
Okay.
genius as well, like
Yes.
some of the great homeopaths.
Yeah.
And
I love
he,
his books.
yeah, and
Yeah.
he has discovered. In fact, the socials went out. He specially recorded a message on this, but he's identified 17 ferns. So we know Lycopodium, but 16 others, 17 ferns overall, which
Yes.
he has now started to use in the treatment of autism with phenomenal results.
Ah, ferns. Okay.
So
That's
interesting,
interesting.
huh?
Yeah,
Interesting. So
yeah. Yeah.
he's coming on the show to talk about all of this very soon, anyhow.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
for those who are interested, Jan did prepare a special video message which I posted on my Instagram, which is you can find me at like_treats like, and you'll see all the show episodes there and trailers and everything.
Yes.
So please do follow there and have a look for the listeners as such. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's interesting. That's
Yeah.
Nathalie, because
Yes.
it shows you that homeopathy is evolving, and
Yes.
there is I have to be careful with the words, but if we use cure, or let's say treatment, there is treatment for every single disease on
Yes.
this planet except death.
Yeah.
It's here. It's
Yeah.
just a matter of how we evolve as human beings and the time that we give to nature, because it's nature that holds the answers.
Yes, yes, that's very great. And the nature has so many things to offer to us for our health. Like if to the plants, the people who lived in the earlier days in the forests and stuff, they know all their plants and they're making like creams and things to heal themselves. And we haven't lost the touch with the nature. So we want to have that touch again back, of course, and we can get it through like the normal herbal creams or also through homeopathy. So when I'm studying in like a herbal part, last time I had Kalmia, and it was like a person who I met the day before was he had ischias, so she had pain from her hips to her feet, and I was studying Kalmia the next day, and it was exactly the same symptoms that she had was in that remedy. So I thought, oh, it's already another nature part that is going to help her.
It's wonderful, isn't it? It's
Yes,
wonderful how each original substance. So let's just use plants, because
yes,
they 60% of homeopathy is plant based and the rest is mineral. And but it's interesting, isn't it, that
yeah,
what
yes,
the healing properties, the signature, like we sign our name,
yeah.
the ups and downs, and what that picture, that symptomology is contained within that signature is I just find that phenomenal. I've always found that
Yeah.
just so interesting.
Yeah, everybody thinks they are special, they're one of a kind, but everybody fits with a remedy. So
Yeah,
there's always
yeah,
one to heal you, of course.
yeah.
Yes, and that's what my first embracement was with homeopathy when I was 22. I had eczema for 2 years, and I went with the creams, of course, with the normal doctors, and it went worse. It went far further. And homeopathy, I went to a homeopath, and like within 1 month, within 4 weeks, my eczema was gone. So I was healed within 1 month with like pulsatilla, also plant-based remedy. And then I was already like an entrepreneur because I had my own cafe, bakery in Rotterdam with my ex-friend. And I wanted to do something for myself. And I wanted to heal other people as well as I was healed myself. So I didn't have children. So I went like 6 years of the practice of the school, of course. And that was my first step with homeopathy. It's also like a plant. Yeah.
Interesting. It's
Mhm.
the journey is always just phenomenal. And in fact, you mentioned eczema at the age of 22, and then you studied at the Academy for Natural Medicine. So do tell us how that
Yes.
was as an experience, because I know before that you were in love with homeopathy, right? That was it.
Yeah. Yeah. I also love it. Well, it was a strange thing that I wanted to. It was like a free thing. You could study homeopathy or like natural parts or acupuncture. I could choose between those three. And my first thing was I want to do acupuncture. And then we got lessons from a homeopath as well and other lessons to try and taste like of what it was about. And then I get very enthusiastic about homeopathy. And I thought, oh, but I wanted to do acupuncture. I was healed with homeopathy. This was a stupid mindset of myself. So I quickly turned into homeopathy, and I didn't have a day regrets of it. And I understand it is like we started with 40 people with the year one. And at the end, like 6 years, it was like 7 people who graduated with homeopathy, the diploma. So it was very hard to go there every week, every Saturday, make your housework because it's a lot of remedy things and things to like psychology and anatomy, of course.
Mm.
It was very hard for a lot of people. And I was glad that I didn't have children yet and I was young because if I see now the people who study homeopathy now, deeply respect I have for them because most people have like a family, they have children and they have a job. And they are so passionate about homeopathy that they do it night behind those things. They are already busy. So there are people who study it, and but I have a lot of respect because it takes a lot of time.
It does. It's actually it's a lifelong journey, isn't it?
Yeah,
It
yeah,
it really is, and it's just, but it's the best possible journey. I mean, I live just like you. I live and
yeah,
breathe homeopathy, and
yeah,
it's just we started off with this, but it really does change you as an individual because you perceive things differently. And dare
yes,
I say it, because of the observation skills that you pick up, it actually helps you in life because you know how to deal with certain people. And this is not homeopathic, but it's the homeopathic
yes,
influence. If you
yeah,
know the traits, then you can match the remedy, and then you know if somebody
yes,
truly is. Let's just for the purposes of this conversation, if someone
yeah,
is pulsatilla or someone is carcinosin or someone is um, uh, nux vomica, you
mm-hmm.
can talk accordingly, which is a good thing because otherwise, in life we have people we get on with, and sometimes we get people and we just don't connect. But
No,
homeopathy gives you that connection because you can tailor your
yes,
conversation to what that
yes,
person is about.
yes.
Am I right?
Yes, and you can be like curious. You have to be curious, and that's a nice thing about the job as well. I think it's nice to ask people questions and ask furthermore because if you live somewhere like a party or you go somewhere, then you have a short conversation with the person. It's always short and not so deeply involved with the other person because there's no time or don't want to talk about it. But if they come to you and they want a conversation at the homeopathic practice, then I can ask. I can ask what I want. I need to ask, of course, and I have to feel. And one person is coming in is like more dominant people, and the other person is coming in is like a shy person. And it's the children are like they show them as well as good because for one child is going to sit on the lap of the mother and they are very shy, and the other children is going to pick all the toys and they walk around in the practice, and then you see the difference already. And it's nice to how do you say that that you can ask and be curious about other people and then
Mm.
match the remedy as well. And most times the people are saying I had like a review thing on my site, and they put in like a review, like, I'm finally heard. Oh, it was so nice. She really heard me, and things like that. And that has to be the normal thing, I think, like for the
Yeah.
doctors as well. Yes.
It's so important to let people speak and to listen to their
Yes.
story, because
Yes.
that's 50% of the treatment, 50% of the cure, isn't it? You
Yes.
know?
Because they sometimes they don't, they say it like, I'm depressed or something like that. And then you ask further, how does it feel for you? And when does it happen? And why does this happen? And they don't think about it like more than they used to. And if you go further, then you go to the essence of the purpose. And to the essence, going to the essence, that's the purpose of our choice of remedy, of course.
Mm, absolutely. So
Yes.
we were talking about your studying the academy. So
Yes.
do tell us that time period and the things that you learnt, and
Yeah.
what it was like. I suppose studying is one part, but what was it
Yeah.
like having graduated? Finally, sort of moving forward. What was
Yeah.
your plan at that time?
Was a great thing to do. Yes, because 6 years is a long period, of course.
Mm,
And we got a lot of things like anatomy, physiology, like practice in for the talks. They recorded us at the end, so everybody in the class was looking at you, that you have the conversation, of course, as a homeopathist. It was like exciting as well. And like a little bit, how do you say that? I don't know the word in English. It's okay. It's exciting. Let's keep it at that. And
nerve-wracking?
then, sorry?
Nerve-wracking?
Yeah, nerve-wracking, something like
Yeah.
that. It's not good for the nerves that everybody's watching how you do it.
Yeah.
Of
Yeah.
course.
I know that feeling all too well.
Yeah.
Mm.
And then I very much enjoyed my yeah, in Dutch word is stage, that you have to get with another homeopath and watch him do his work, and then you can see what he's doing. That's part of the opleiding as well.
I think
So
it's a case leader or a mentor, isn't it? Or
yeah.
some, yeah.
Yeah, and you can work with a homeopath as well that already has a practice, so we can watch them work. So I did with a pediatrician. The pediatrician was a homeopath as well at his home, and I could watch all the children in the practice, waiting for to have help. So that's what my started interest in the children as well, of course. So when I get my diploma, it was a very, very good day. I was first very proud of myself that I had the diploma as well, of course. And that's why I started to have work with children. So I was working at that time like also a full-time job, and then I started like working 4 hours a week with my homeopathy department, and I rented a place for 4 hours in the week. And afterwards, I got more patients, and I could turn off my other work. So 1 week, 1 day less in my own other work, and 1 day more in my practice.
Mm.
So that's why in a couple of years I could build up a completely practice. But yeah, the 6 years of study that, yeah, I still have contact with students as well, because you connect with them for 6 years, of course.
I really like what you've just said there, which is you left one day for homeopathy, and slowly and surely, as you got more patients, you increased to two, three, and then eventually it's just a nice, beautiful transition, isn't it? Because I
Yes.
know that homeopaths do find it challenging around the
Hmm.
world sometimes to go into practice because they're already working. We all have to work, of course.
Yes.
And, you think about how you're going to continue to pay the bills and the food and et cetera, and
Yes.
just generally living, to earn money. And then
Yes.
it people are always confused that, oh my God, okay, do I have to leave my work now and just start
Yes.
fresh? But the way you've done it is the sensible way. Start
Yes.
slow, wait,
Yeah.
because it's going to take a year, it's going to take 2 years, but you do get to that stage, as you've
Yes.
so
Yes.
wonderfully explained, where you
Yes.
can then transition across.
Yes, at one point I was like a manager in the hospital where I worked in, and things happening. So I fell out. I went a little bit sick, and my boss, my manager above me, he told me, when you can take 3 months off, and then you can think about your situation, think about your job, and but when you come back, I want to know if you still want to be the manager, or you want to like not be the manager anymore, and you earn less, of course, and you want to, maybe you can build up your practice afterwards. So it was like one door closed, one door open. In those 3 months, my patients came a little bit higher and more and more. So after those 3 months, I was for sure, now I'm not going to be the manager anymore. And I'm going to work like for 16 hours, not like 30 hours. And then my money went down in the hospital, but it was already up in the homeopathy. So that was very good. I think then people have to be the trust in themselves and in the universe, that if you close one door, then the other door is going to be open for you, if it's your path.
I'd actually take that further to say that sometimes when a door closes, it's a good thing, because
Yeah.
who knows what it's protected you from, right? Something really bad could have happened, anything in life. I'm talking generally about life, because
Yeah.
we have these conversations with patients as well. And I always explain that you have to look at it objectively,
Yes.
Who knows what is down the line. Sometimes I've had an example recently where we had to go somewhere, but the car broke down.
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking that's actually a good thing, because if it had broken down on the motorway when I'm doing 70, 80 miles an hour
Yes.
in the third lane, that would
Yeah.
have been tragic.
Disastrous.
But it
Yes.
happened on the driveway, so I can't complain. It's brilliant. It happened on my driveway, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
it's something, sometimes some things happen to protect you from what could become much, much worse in the long run, right?
Yes. Yes. And things happen for a reason, I think, on your path to the path you are walking, because that was the point for me, that I had to let go of my certainty of earning money, of course, and uncertainty on the other side.
Mm.
But sometimes I consult like a medium, and somebody's told already from, you're going to be like more this, it's going to be, your road is going to be for the homeopathy, of course. And that's what I held in my background, in my head. That's my road to be completely homeopath. So in Rotterdam, where I lived then, in the back of the days, 3 years ago, my practice was full time. So that was very good.
Wonderful.
Yes.
And you do mention that, 60% of your practice approximately is children, 40 is adults. And so how
Mm-hmm.
does that go? What type of conditions do you generally come across with children I mean, are the patients that you have physical or online as well around the world? How does that work?
Well, with just before Corona time and during the Corona time, it was like me always with the Zoom, like internet.
Yeah.
And like I now 50% internet, 50% is live in my practice, because we moved like 3 years ago from the western part of Netherlands to the eastern part of the Netherlands. So not all my patients could move with me. So all those patients who wanted to stay with me ask for the Zoom, ask for the telephone. So that's why
Okay.
I stayed in touch with them. And all the new ones in this region is coming live, or sometimes it's easier for people to meet me via Zoom. And it's no problem for me, because when I hear the sounds, when I hear the story, I know what they need. But sometimes of course, it's important that people come by physically, because one time I was a little girl and she walked from the car to the practice, and she walked with her feet without shoes. She
Hmm.
wanted to go in the naked feet with the street. And that's an interesting symptom right from the beginning as well, because then you ask the parents, is that often? Does she always walk on the naked feet? And then you get already your symptoms. And if you had that girl only on the Zoom, then I didn't have known that. So it's a little bit, it's
Yeah.
easy with the Zoom, but sometimes it could be better live. Yes.
Wonderful. And I was going to ask you actually about Holland itself, or the Netherlands generally.
Mm-hmm.
How is homeopathy? How is homeopathy perceived there, and are people very into homeopathy, or is it something that's growing, which it is in many parts of the world?
Yeah. I have the feeling that in England it's a little bit more than Netherlands, I
Hmm.
think, because I see a lot of English homeopaths online as well, of course. But it is good arranged. Last summer I was in Malaysia and I visited the university over there. They have like a 5-year homeopathy department. But they struggle with starting, because it's not in the insurance part. It's not
Hmm.
like registers for them. And I thought, oh, in the Netherlands, it's in the insurance. It's not like in the basic insurance, but in the next one you have to buy. And many people have that insurance as well. But it's every year it's going to be a little bit less, because what they get back from the money is going to be less, or the insurance is going to be higher. So sometimes people say, well, I'm only taking the basic of the insurance and not the other part. So in the other part, there's homeopathy as well. So we, in the last like 5-6 years, we see it a little bit like going to be less. And people who are coming they know it because of their relatives, they know it already about homeopathy, or they were involved in homeopathy. But I don't know if new people are very excited then to come, because it's more expensive for them, of course.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And but generally, I mean, it's interesting because in the UK there is a growing trend now that
Yes.
people are looking at other therapies, and homeopathy is quite fairly large,
Ah,
in the UK, and
okay.
that's a good thing. But
Yes.
internationally, I've seen when I talk to all these guests from around the world,
Yeah.
the guests on the show, that overall it's a trajectory, it's going upwards every single day. And we're not
Yes.
talking about one or two people, we're talking about thousands.
Ah,
So
okay.
it's
Yeah.
really, really good. And I think that's a good
Yes.
thing for homeopathy because,
Yes.
like we said right at the beginning of this conversation, it
Yeah.
empowers you. It empowers the family, children,
Yes.
children's children, and so forth.
Yeah.
Friends, the circle
Yeah.
increases, and people
Yeah.
can make those life choices that they need to about their healthcare.
Yeah, yes. But in the Netherlands, there are a lot of homeopaths, or like above 50 or 60 years old, and they're going to with a pension, they're going to stop working. And the next phase, the new homeopaths, is not that much, because I teach at like a school in Zwolle. I teach homeopathy, and they have like 8 new students for this year, and normally they have more. So you see that it's going to be a little bit less in the Netherlands. And that the homeopaths there are already there have the patients, of course, but we need new homeopaths.
Mm.
But it's I don't know how that's in England, like the schools.
In England, it's there's a good uptake every year.
Yes.
In fact, one college said to me that because I had them on the show, we did a
Mm-hmm.
live episode,
Okay.
their intake increased.
Oh, okay.
You know,
Yes.
it doubled, almost more than doubled intake. So,
Yeah.
little things like this. We spoke about promotion and getting the word out there. It
Yeah.
makes a big difference. It really does because people aren't
Yeah.
aware. I always get taken aback because some people do, or many people still are not aware of what homeopathy is.
No,
You know?
no, that's right. Yes. They ask, what is homeopathy? Is that something with the herbs or something else? Maybe they don't even know the word of
Yeah,
homeopathy. Yeah,
yeah.
that's very well. That's good. That I think that the people are in the 30s from now with young children. The ones that I see are more looking on internet to get a healthy thing for their people, for their family. They want healthy food, and
Mm,
homeopathy is also part of that because of the healthy lifestyle, of course.
yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
Now, Nathalie, you are an author because you've written a book, Homeopathy in Children. Tell us more about that, please.
Yes, it's a book called Homeopathy for Children. Yes, because people when they ask me in the practice, they ask me how it's work because they heard it's something on the school that there's something with homeopathy, and they come to me, but I didn't know what that was. So I had to tell them over and over again because what homeopathy and like cures like, and what kind of remedies there are, and they find it very interesting. So I wanted to make a book that is low style for people who don't know anything about homeopathy,
Mm,
to teach them a little bit about homeopathy. And I made like things like vaccinations, that's part of it. And of course, the remedies, what are they made of? Like the animals, the plants. And I put like a little things of interest in the book. So people, now I understand what homeopathy is about. So it's a low profile book for people who don't know about homeopathy.
and it's available on which
Uh,
platform to
Yeah,
buy?
on my website and on I think it's like bol.com. It's maybe a Dutch thing.
Okay, and
wbol.com.
what
BOL.
what what about your website? How do we get to that?
This is my name. You can put in like www and then Nathalie Van Der Stelt .nl, the
Okay,
Dutch version of the homeopathy. Yeah.
okay, wonderful.
Yes.
And are you going to write some more books, by the way?
I'm thinking about that. I think I'm now like interested in like a connection between human design and homeopathy. Human design is like when you have astrology, like you're a lion or for things like that.
Mm.
Human design looks at the people like kind of types, that you are a type, and that there are four types, and they then you see how they live their life. Because one type is a leader, and the other one is like a entrepreneur. Sometimes one want to watch and then make others make it happen, and then you can translate them to homeopathic remedies. So it would be for me, it like very nice to make the connection with human design. It's going to be popular in the world, and then homeopathy next to it, and then translate them with each other.
Amazing, amazing,
Yes,
fascinating, and it's interesting. Those places, and when you talk about sickness or disease, and when you empower the patient with that knowledge, it helps them.
yes,
Ultimately, that's what it's about, right? Giving them
yes,
information so they can
yeah,
take charge, they can take control of their
yes,
well-being. And
yeah,
again, we go back to the start where I said it removes the element of that panic and nervousness and anxiety because
yeah,
you know why something happens.
yes,
So, for example, let's say somebody said, and this is only for the purposes of the listeners, of course, but
hmm,
we've all been in situations where someone said, okay, you have to do a presentation and there's going to be, I don't know, 500 people. Now that's a big thing, right?
yes,
For anyone, even if you're versed with doing workshops or webinars.
yeah,
And what's the first bodily response? It's the rush of adrenaline, right? So you're
yes,
sympathetic dominant at that time.
yeah,
But if you know why that happens,
hmm,
then you can somewhat control it, or you can at least accept it's going to happen, and then you don't have to make it happen. So it doesn't exasperate more so.
no, don't have to evolve to like
Yeah,
panic attacks or
yeah.
something like
So you
that.
just can just say that, okay, this is happening and this is the response. I know it's going to happen, and it will
Yes,
take about maybe 60 seconds for it to settle.
ah,
And then
yes.
it's fine, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
know?
Then there's a lot of good feelings about you have that you can conquer those
Yeah.
situations as well. Yes,
Yeah.
and I notice sometimes that a lot of old things about how do you say that across life and death is going to work as well because I had like two ladies in the practice,
Mm,
a mother and her mother, a woman and her mother, and they were very strong connected. And they like the woman in charge who were looking after her mother, of course, because she had to go to like a place of psychiatric things. But she said she went to a medium and they told her like in a past life they were sisters. They were witches like, and the mother was very like extroverted in that life, and the person who I was treating was like introverted. They told nothing about the witchcraft. And then her mother in the other life went burnt on the burnt table. How do you say it in English?
mm, yeah.
Because he talked about the things that she did, of course.
Yeah.
And then she, the woman that I treated, was oh, I didn't take good care of her and I have to protect her and things like that. And in this life, she still takes care of her mother because it's still not worked out in the energy. So I see a lot of things happening to people that they sometimes bring things from other lives to this life, and the energy is still the same. So I realized that homeopathy is not only in this life important, but this soul remedy is going to heal your soul in this life or the next life, or and that's what I found out last month, and I thought, oh, that's so wonderful that you can treat between the lives.
That's wonderful to know. Um,
Yes,
so what's on the horizon for you? What are you working on for 2025, for for the year? What's
yes.
in what's in the pipeline?
I know Viola, yes. Well, I want to increase my practice because when I moved, I noticed that my practice went a little bit down. So I've increased the patients number here, of course. I want to still be able to work with Homeopaths International to give the lessons to people and give lessons to people in Netherlands as well. And me and my husband started like a coach line, a telephonic coach line on the internet.
Mm,
And like now already 15, 16 coaches are working with us on the platform. So it's like a low profile line that you can call if you're thinks that you are lonely or you have stress and you need a coach, then there's always a coach around to call. So that's the business I work with my husband now. And then we hope that it's going to be good in the next year, of course.
wonderful.
Yes.
Um, that's so good, and I wish you the best for that. And hey, you won't believe it. but it's the end of the episode. We are out of time. We've had
Okay.
It's been a fascinating conversation, a true delight to have you on the show.
Oh, thank you very
We're
much.
going to, of course, keep in touch. And hey,
Yes.
let's collaborate on something. Yeah, let's work together.
Yes, okay, very much. I like it very much. So, yeah, nice to be here and to talk to you.
I do hope you've enjoyed this week's episode of the Homeopathy Health Show. Please do support the show by clicking follow on my socials. Remember, the more exposure the podcast receives, the better for homeopathy around the world. You can find me on Instagram by searching for @like_treatslike, and on both Facebook and TikTok by searching for @like_treatslike. So let's promote the voice of homeopathy on radio and podcast around the world together. Don't forget to visit me online at www.liketreatslike.co.uk and click on the radio and podcast tab. Here you'll be able to see all the guests that have joined me on the show so far, and of course you can stream on demand the latest episode to your mobile, tablet or PC. Until next time, stay safe and take care.